Casey Morsell and Michael O'Connell fill out Keats' card. Meanwhile, a Louisville lineup that's become familiar to Card fans with Clark and James, White, Huntley, Hatfield that Corey mentioned, and there's Tyler Johnson, the freshman from Brooklyn, with the ball. And the Cards get us started here in D.C. Huntley, Hatfield, a kick out for Clark's three. Skyy Clark, 41st three of the year, starts our scoring.
And a great start for Skyy Clark. Hasn't had a great shooting year this year. However, he's a guy that's more than capable from beyond the arc.
Michael O'Connor, the transfer from Stanford, runs NC State's offense. Here's our first matchup with Burns and Huntley Hatfield. DJ reverses to the baseline and scores.
They have no answer for him. If he can handle the lengthy amount of time he needs to be in there, he's hard to handle, and he's got to be the key with Horn out.
Huntley Hatfield. White. Here's Clark again against O'Connell. Back to Johnson against Diarra. Oh, Tyler through traffic. Wolfpack with Morsell. You see NC State's order. Keep an eye on Diarra. He is a terrific rebounder at both ends of the floor, especially on the defensive end.
But WD, one thing we know, when he makes a three, he's a better basketball player. Kevin Keats made that very clear as we see Huntley Hatfield with a great job defensively denying DJ Burns.
First turnover of the day belongs to the Wolfpack. Johnson. Here's James. Skyy Clark. And now James attacks on the dribble. Huntley Hatfield off the baseline. Cards have put 5 points on the board in their first 3 trips.
Coach, that was great ball movement by the Cards. That's got to be encouraging when you see your team approach the game like that early, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're off to a great start, and, you know, State's going to answer.
O'Connell a three.
And they do.
Michael O'Connell, almost as if he heard Coach over here.
They're listening to me. I don't know why.
Did your players listen to you, Coach?
No.
Okay, I was just wondering.
15th three of the year for O'Connell, and we're locked up at 5. Tyler Johnson, Corey, wants the ball in his hand, and he kind of ignites whatever Louisville's offensive set is going to be, it feels like.
He absolutely does. He's their facilitator, 108 assists on the year. However, this time he goes to get a bucket. He's touched the paint multiple possessions already in this game.
These don't look like two teams that have been struggling.
Jayden Taylor, who's been terrific, gets his first basket. He had 28 at Pitt in the regular season finale on Saturday night. He's been 20 or more in 3 of his last 4 for the Wolfpack. Clark through traffic, and he scores.
That's a tough finish. Skyy Clark gave up the strong side to go to the weak side of the rim and attack DJ Burns' body to make sure he wasn't available as a shot blocker.
Diarra thought about it. To Corey's point about shooting threes for the Missouri transfer. There goes Morsell. He lost it in the air. Huntley Hatfield recovers the Wolfpack turnover. That's over and back. Yep. Turnover on Louisville. Unforced error for Kenny Payne's team.
The Cards have been attacking the paint and sharing the rock. Mike James finds Brandon Huntley Hatfield, who knocks down the mid-range jumper. And then Tyler Johnson going with the little reverse, some English off the glass to finish. And Skyy Clark with the tough finish, attacking DJ Burns, and still the concentration to get the bucket.
So the dead ball opportunity pushes DJ Burns to Kevin Keats' bench. Ben Middlebrooks wears 34 for the Wolfpack. He's come in to fill that post spot. Pretty normal exchange if you've seen NC State play at all during the course of the year. That ball got deflected. It'll stay with the higher-seeded Wolfpack.
But, Coach, as you mentioned, DJ Burns not in the position to be able to go for long stretches. So it's important to have a guy like, of course, Middlebrooks, correct?
Yeah, Middlebrooks is good, and it hurts them to have Burns 3 minutes into the game. He's got to come out for a rest. That's not good.
Giveaway by the Wolfpack. Here's Huntley Hatfield. Back to Trey White in traffic, who scores.
Louisville does not look like a team that's lost a bunch of games in a row.
And as a coach, when you see your team come in with an inspired effort like this into the ACC tournament where you are basically starting a new season, that's got to make you feel good about your preparation, correct?
Yeah, it's 100%. I mean, they're doing everything right, and there's no reason for that to happen. Kenny Payne's obviously done a great job getting them prepared. Come in here, let's play this game and see what happens.
7 points for Clark on the dunk. Louisville's hit 6 of their first 7, and they can't collect it there. It'll stay with the Wolfpack. Well, DJ Burns is
13-7 lead.
Well, how about they 6 for 7 and NC State's 3 for 4? That's pretty good for teams that have struggled so much.
But the problem is NC State only with 4 attempts compared to the 7 for Louisville, which is the reason why Louisville holds that 6-point lead.
Yep.
Middlebrook stays on the floor. Here's Taylor for 3. Bounds away. Johnson the rebound. Cards off to this strong start. Skyy Clark's been a big reason. He's got 7 of their first 13. White misses. Diarra cleans it up, and here's Taylor and the Wolfpack trying to flip the floor. Middlebrooks. Quick pass. Diarra rolled in.
Wasn't pretty, but it went in.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Coach, it was kind of tight quarters on that pass, right? More like a handoff than it was a pass.
Yeah. Oops.
That's still an assist, though, right? Just
yes.
So okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I knew you would agree with that.
Well, Coach and I both were point guards.
So they're knocking down the 3.
Well, I really was the point guard, but Dave Bing handled the ball all the time, so I don't know if you can call me.
So we'll call you just the other guy.
I was the other guy.
There you go. That works.
I was
other guy in the backcourt with Dave Bing.
I was good at taking the ball out of bounds and making sure he got it. That was my best attribute.
7-point lead for Louisville. Here is O'Connell firing one diagonally for Taylor. Morsell. Back rim miss. Taylor will give him a second chance. Diarra. Back for Jayden again at the front. Died on the back iron. Middlebrooks. And it rolls off. He'll be at the line for 2 here.
Yeah, it worked.
So another look at this in traffic, guys.
Yeah, this is really, I'm not sure how he caught it, but he got it and he finished. So I'm going to
just the way we drew it up.
It's like in golf. There's no room on the scorecard for a picture. Just, it's an assist and a bucket.
Coach, I've never heard that one before, but I believe I will use it.
Cardinals.
It's true.
Caleb Glenn, the foul, his first. That's our first of the ball game, and that'll bring Ben Middlebrooks, who. And DJ Burns is waiting on Middlebrooks. By the way, Jim, in this world we live in, Middlebrooks left Clemson for State the same day Jack Clark left State for Clemson. As I told Corey earlier, the league did not ratify it as a trade, but it sure felt like one.
Yeah, I think there was a player to be named later, too. In that.
So Middlebrooks hit them both. That lets DJ Burns back in the game, but Corey, it's still a 5-point deficit here for the Wolfpack.
Well, the Wolfpack are a different team, especially on the offensive end. When DJ Burns is on the floor, they have almost like a point center to be able to play through. DJ Burns is such a great facilitator. But the problem for the Wolfpack to this point has been they haven't been able to get stops against the Cards.
Clark, and the jump shot good. Boy, Skyy Clark's got 9. He's almost to double figures for the 6th time in the last 8 games.
But, Coach, that's why I said that they're a different team on the offensive end, because defensively, you see Kenny Payne is going to put DJ Burns in all the action and pick and roll.
Yep.
Burns and offensive foul. Let's get a quick check of our food line, food for thought, here in this first half, and it's the last 4 games for DJ Burns.
And you look at the numbers, scoreless at Florida State, only 9 against North Carolina on the road, but coming home and getting 27 against the Blue Devils at PNC. And they're going to need a big performance for him to get a win here in the ACC tournament.
He's just not the player he was last year. He was just more consistent. He could go for longer stretches.
And I think he just got his 2nd foul. Sure did. In a series of seconds, DJ Burns has gone from no fouls to 2 fouls. But both of the team fouls belong to Burns.
And no DJ Horn in the lineup, so now the second DJ is getting foul trouble. But, Coach, you, of course, have coached a number of great big men. When they were in foul trouble and guys were prone to get in foul trouble, what would you tell them about a play like that?
You know, you just can't commit bad fouls. When you're a big guy, you've got to use your fouls being aggressive, going for the ball. You know, you can't use them reaching and grabbing people. And you can't waste those fouls. Now, we had the luxury, again, because we played so much zone all the time, that if you got 2, I never took the guy out, because it's hard to attack a particular guy in the zone. So that's the one advantage I've always felt about playing the zone. You could leave guys in when they got their second foul.
Well, and Louisville's taking advantage of it. Run this lead to 9 at 20-11. Breon Pass is coming to the lineup. Kevin Keats talked to us yesterday about Pass potentially getting a lot more action. Zan Payne has come in. He'll try and stop Middlebrooks. Cannot. It got tapped around, and finally, Kenny Son comes away with a rebound. Here's the lead for Huntley Hatfield. And taking away Taylor, a terrific play. Here's O'Connell. Kick back from Morsell's three. Nope.
Casey Morsell unable to get it to go. And, of course, a little more pressure on Casey playing in front of about 25 friends and family. No pressure at all on Skyy Clark as he has been on one here to start this game, WD.
He has got a double.
He's scoring. And it's when a guy plays like this, it makes them a different team. And, you know, they just didn't have that this year.
Coach, he came in at 32% three-point shooting and 40% from the floor.
But, Coach, you've been in a scenario before where your team hasn't had the best season, but when you go into the tournament, what are you telling your guys? Are you talking to them about a fresh start?
I mean, that's what you do. That's what you try to do. But it's easier said than done, for sure. But they're playing like it's a fresh start for him, and that's what the coach has done.
Boy, what a big basket for Breon Pass. Just his 4th three of the year and 11 tries. Cuts it back to a 9-point Louisville lead.
WD, I'm going to need to see a replay. Our super director of Griff in the control room.
Yeah.
Because I think that hit the glass from the corner.
It was a glass. I mean,
and that's almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
Morsell trying to answer, cannot. Casey struggling. Look at Middlebrooks go back, and he'll get to the line for 2 more on another Louisville foul. We get a timeout before we watch the artistry out of the corner of Breon Pass. That's next from D.C.
Of the ACC tournament, went on to the national championship game.
That's right.
Where he lost on a buzzer-beating shot by
Chris Jenkins.
DC's own Chris Jenkins, Gonzaga High School, right down the street. See, Joe didn't recognize that when he came in here throwing up fonts talking about Corey I was better.
Well, I'm just saying he did win the Case Award.
He absolutely did. Was an elite player. It came back and, of course, won a national championship in 2017.
Yep.
Yeah.
19 points, by the way, for Barry in that title game in this building the last time the tournament was here. Middlebrooks got 1 of 2. And Clark juggles it and runs it down against Cam Woods, who's going to get some action today with horns. Inability to go, and Skyy Clark is on fire. That's 15 in the first half.
Bad play, broken play, 3-point bucket. That's the way he's going today.
Clark 15, the Pack 15, Corey.
Well, Clark getting off to a great start. We saw him get an easy bucket earlier. And for guys who shoot and play with a lot of rhythm, that always helps.
3 ball away, and that's good. Breon Pass.
Now, that's the traditional look from Breon Pass. That one straight on knocks it down. Nothing but net, and I love the fact that Breon Pass is taking advantage of his opportunity here in the ACC tournament.
Yep, young man, highly recruited out of Reidsville, North Carolina, as a football wide receiver. Came to Raleigh to play basketball for Kevin Keats. 10 to shoot. Mike James has been quiet so far. Back to Clark. He has not. The volume is all the way up for Skyy Clark. 2 more. No, back rim miss. Got his own rebound. Tried to get Huntley Hatfield. A quick touch.
A little too unselfish on that one from Skyy. He caught it and had an easy one.
Taylor had it blocked on the perimeter by Johnson. Clark's early start here offensively, guys, seemed to have fueled the whole Louisville team as Tyler scores at the rim.
I'm going to look at it differently, WD. I think that's the guy. Tyler Johnson was in the paint to start this game off, finding his teammates sharing the basketball. He actually got Skyy Clark a good look early. I believe he's been the guy that ignited it. However, Skyy Clark has kept the fire going.
Morsell into traffic. Reroutes on Huntley Hatfield, and Casey Morsell's on the board in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, he got closer to the basket. He's got to try to get there instead of taking threes.
Lob by Johnson. Oh, it wasn't a lob. It was a kiss.
There you go. It was a kiss.
It was a lob to the basket.
6 for Tyler Johnson.
My favorite person to pass to, Coach.
The glass?
No, the basket.
The basket.
But speaking of the glass.
Yeah.
We had a look earlier. Oh, we got a little extracurricular, guys.
What are we doing now? Come on, fellas.
Calm it down.
Yeah, we got a look earlier from Breon Pass knocking down the three in the corner. We questioned it. Did it hit the glass?
Yes.
It did.
Yes.
I tell you what, you cannot duplicate that in a horse contest. However, the touch by Tyler Johnson, spectacular off the glass.
I think there's maybe one a year from the corner that hit the glass and go in.
Well, I'm glad Breon redeemed himself because, you know, in the pickup game, Coach, you know, we take that off. No, that does not count. He came back and redeemed himself, knocking down the three from the wing.
Jayden Taylor checks out for NC State. Zan Payne gets a seat for the Cards. So you've got new faces on the floor here. DJ Burns stays on Kevin Keats' bench with those 2 fouls about 4 minutes ago in game time. And Morsell hits both free throws. So NC State trailing 8 here to a hot shooting Louisville team. The Cards are 12 of 16, 4 of 5 from behind the line. And here's Glenn inside, looking for position, and threw it away. Trying to go to White, and it's O'Connell. Here's Michael O'Connell on the drive, and the floater good. 5 for O'Connell.
You know, they're in this game, and they really shouldn't be. And that's a good sign for NC State.
Under 9 to go in this first half. Tyler Johnson here against Morsell. Casey defends it well, Corey. Outlet for Woods. Here goes Cam Woods trying to get into action, and that'll be an offensive foul.
That is big boy basketball right there. Cam Woods lowering the shoulder. We talked about Breon Pass and his football ability. This time you see Cam Woods created the contact, dislodging Trey White for the bucket, but that's going to go the other direction. You're never getting away with that one.
Cam Woods trying to jam the route on the release, wasn't he? So Louisville, the 6-point lead here. And Woods is going to stay on the floor. He and pass, and look at O'Connell now. Fishes out the pass. He'll take it down and score.
O'Connell giving NC State a great lift. The steal and the score, getting them back into striking distance, and had a couple of stare downs with Big John, I would say.
I'll tell you what, you're not going to run past that set. You're going to be respectful and be careful because he might come out of there and get you.
Of course, we're in the building where many of the huge Georgetown-Syracuse rivalries took place.
Well, you're not kidding.
Coach, I'm sure you got a lot of memories of those matchups.
Yeah,
in this
mostly bad.
Didn't go well, Coach?
They didn't always go well, no. Not when Big John was here.
4-point lead for the Cards. NC State has rallied on a 6-0 run. And there's a foul off the ball on Pass trying to defend Mike James. So Breon Pass, who only averaged 5 minutes a game for the Wolfpack in conference play, played 14 minutes the other night after Horn got hurt, being asked to come on here, and he's knocked down a couple threes so far for NC State. That ball got deflected in traffic, scooped up by James, and Woods, I think, stripped it out of there, but Lee Cassell, no, it's Pass.
But WD, one of the things we've got to make sure we get cleared up now.
Okay.
Everyone hears the terminology, the DMV.
Sure.
Which stands for the District of Columbia,
right,
Maryland, and Virginia. However, it's not the whole state of Maryland, and it's not the whole state of Virginia. It is small sections. It's D.C. Now, of course, D.C. residents, for the most part, do not claim DMV. They're only D.C.
Right.
It's normally people from Maryland and Virginia, and it's only Northern Virginia doing so. A lot of history in this tournament from guys from the DMV, starting with 2011 most valuable player Nolan Smith, who was on the bench for the Louisville Cardinals as one of their assistant coaches. As there's my guy who was inducted into the Oak Hill Hall of Fame this past week.
And so were you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I was waiting. I was trying to edge you on to bring that up. I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Academy Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but like they say, you were like low on the list of the better players there.
Here's Middlebrooks inside. Couldn't finish. Here's Louisville on the turn. Johnson Bounce pass, thrown away. Tried to go to Huntley Hatfield. Taylor has made some terrific defensive stops for State. And at the other end, Woods threw it up there, and it dropped in.
That's been the Achilles heel for the Louisville Cardinals all season long. They have a negative 49 assist to turnover rate throughout the season, but negative 32 overall in ACC play. And just like that, NC State's able to get it back to a 4-point game off of the miscue.
That is just the 5th field goal of the year for the North Carolina A&T transfer, Cam Woods.
Well, I can tell you this, Cam Woods now has 15 points on the season. 9 of those came in his debut.
Yeah. Tough shot, Trey White, coach.
I mean, when you have to make those shots, you're going to have a long day normally. That was really tough. They were moving the ball better earlier and getting better shots and making it.
Taylor trying to use Middlebrooks for the screen. O'Connell. Back from Middlebrooks and Michael O'Connell. Corey, he's got 9 here in the first half.
Yeah, he understands DJ Horn not on the floor. He's going to pick up his scoring. Is one of the guys who's part of that starting backcourt for the Wolfpack.
And took it away from Clark. Look away. Morsell the catch and the finish. And like that, State to within 2. Johnson for Clark. Ten to shoot, 5.5 to go in this opening 20, and there's another turnover. Morsell crosses over, layup, fell off the rim. NC State doing it defensively here.
That's the way they got this run started, getting the job done defensively. And then you see Cam Woods using every part of the rim, trying to find the angle, and then defensively, O'Connell coming up with the steal. The kick-ahead pass, I won't call it quite Wes Unseldish. However, it was a pretty good pass. And the only reason I bring up, of course, the great Wes Unseld, because we are talking about the greatest of all time for the Louisville Cardinals, and his banner happens to hang in this building in which we sit.
And the greatest outlet passer of all time.
Absolutely.
I saw him in person when I was young, so I know Wes Unseld.
Hold on, wait. When you were young.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Now, like, go ahead, you might want to go ahead and finish this story here.
I was in college, and I saw him.
You didn't recruit him. You played against him, right?
No, he was younger than me a little bit, freshman.
So wait a minute. So when he says he was young, so Wes was even younger.
Yeah, he was a 17-year-old. He left his handprint up on the practice gym basket right at the top of the circle. I said, okay. I said, that's good.
Yeah.
I like him.
You knew greatness was on the way.
On the way.
Curtis Williams, you see, the freshman from Detroit. He's wearing number 1 for Louisville on the floor for the first time. Skyy Clark's the game's leading scorer. He's got 15, but we're tied at 34 after the Morsell free throws. Huntley Hatfield to work on Diarra. Into traffic, right-hand block by Mo Diarra.
One-on-one basketball, opposite of what they played in the beginning when they were getting good shots.
Woods trying to beat Clark on the bounce, and Skyy Clark swats it out of there. 17 to shoot here for the Pack.
Clark has not gotten a shot since he was 5 for 5 in the beginning. He missed 1 shot, and he hasn't seen a ball since then. And this is why Louisville has struggled all year. They play really well, and then they turn it over, layup, and now they're right back in the game.
Woods, 10 to shoot for O'Connell. Skip for Taylor. On the drive, and a block is called. It's going to be on Mike James. And that'll put Jayden Taylor, the Butler transfer, to the line with a chance to give the Wolfpack the lead, Corey.
Well, you know, today is, of course, an opportunity for Jayden Taylor to be able to step into the lineup and make sure that you mentioned the career high 28 the last time out for him. It's an opportunity for him without DJ Horn to be able to step up as the offensive role. However, give the Cards a lot of credit for kind of holding him in check to this point, but NC State off their defense and now with that free throw built their first lead of the game.
Jim, to your point, Louisville's having a harder time getting the shots they got earlier. But coincide that, Kevin Keats is getting some effort by guys on his bench.
Yeah, they're playing well off the bench. And, you know, that's the kind of call right there that can go either way. You hit really, you know, toughest call. That's one of the toughest calls in basketball.
But, Coach, as you've been in this game, which is seemingly forever, you've seen how much different it is to be able to get a charge, I mean, now in comparison to before.
Yeah, it's much harder, but it still, I think, should be harder. I think they should take the circle out and make everything a block. Just take it out of the game.
I would have loved that. It would have kept me on the floor longer with all the offensive fouls I got.
18 for Clark, by the way, as he pushes Louisville back in front. O'Connell cannot answer. Here are the Cards now, under 4 to go. Huntley Hatfield against Diarra. Backs him all the way down, and the short fall away rolls in.
That's a good comeback. He gets his shot blocked last time down. He comes right back at him. I think he's got a chance to be a good player. He's starting to get there, but I think he's still got a lot of range left in his game.
Yeah, just the junior from Clarksville, Tennessee. Originally started his career in Knoxville. Second year with Louisville. Here goes Taylor into traffic. Oh, nice move around Williams and the layup for Jayden Taylor.
And we see Jayden Taylor now, after seeing the ball go through the basket at the free throw line, he's starting to pick it up offensively, using multiple, listen to me, multiple pivot feet. You didn't think about that. To be able to get that bucket. It'll hit you later.
No, I know what you're saying. I hear you. Skyy Clark. See him circling the baseline. Meanwhile, here's Taylor, the steal, and the dunk. 7 for Taylor, all here in the last couple of sequences.
Too many mistakes, and that's why you lose.
9th turnover by the Cardinals.
And turnovers that lead to buckets.
James in traffic, and he'll score. First field goal for Orlando's Mike James.
Yeah, Mike James had 20 points the last time these two teams got together on January 13th. So normally when you see a guy have success, they're looking to be ultra aggressive early. That hasn't been the case for James.
O'Connell.
But it has been
for Michael O'Connell.
It has been the case for O'Connell. I haven't seen him this aggressive in a game thus far for the Wolfpack.
Well, it's nice to see them pick up the slack. P.J. Horn's not playing, and they're going to come out here and do something about it, and that's pretty good to see.
Huntley Hatfield trying to beat Diarra. Scores and puts Louisville back in front. 8 for Brandon Huntley Hatfield.
WD, he comes in averaging 17 points and 9 rebounds over his last 10 games, so he's been playing the best basketball of his career as of late.
I agree. Morsell, hard shot, and he scores. That's 10 for Casey Morsell. Tied at 43.
Well, we've seen great deep offense here in this first half. Defense optional, however.
And knocked away. It will stay with the Cards.
Well, WD, we don't have a cake for it. However, today is a
win. Earl Grant's team victorious at Louisville on Saturday to close the regular season. Eagles played much better as the season wore on. That'll be the third of our 3 first-round games here on this Tuesday in Washington. Skyy Clark has been terrific for Louisville. Huntley Hatfield on the kick out. Mike James the miss, and Trey White can't finish the tap. And here is Jayden Taylor in the Wolfpack, tied at 43 with 70 seconds and change. The steady hand of Michael O'Connell's been impressive here in the first half, too.
He absolutely has on both ends of the floor, not just his offense, but defensively getting the job done as well.
Taylor missed the jump shot. Clark and the Cards on the run. Here goes Skyy Clark trying to make his own money. Huntley Hatfield out of the corner, and it drops in for 3. Just the 9th 3 of the year for Huntley Hatfield.
Did you ever get a bounce like that? Come on, seriously?
11 for Brandon Huntley Hatfield.
Coach, being that we don't have video proof to deny it, all of mine hit the bottom of the net.
No bankers from the corner.
3-point lead. Final half minute. Middlebrooks. Burns has been in foul trouble since about the 12.5-minute mark. Ben inside the scoop and score with the left hand. 5 for Middlebrooks. Louisville can hold for the final shot here. Skyy Clark's been terrific. He's got 18 in this first half. and he'll take the last shot. Off balance three, and that'll do it. Teams will go to the locker room. Louisville leads by 1 here, Corey and Coach.
But WD, Louisville ended the half.
We never saw him again.
Well, he should have be rested then, I guess.
That's the coach's way of looking at it.
So Taylor, Diarra, Morsell, DJ Burns, Michael O'Connell. No DJ Horn today for the Wolfpack. Here is Burns right away with a left hand, and he gets the roll.
Starting off the game, the second half, the same way he started off the first half, attacking in the painted area. Louisville deciding not to trap simply because he's such a great passer. They'll take their chances with him playing one-on-one against Brandon Huntley-Hatfield.
White goes over and back. A turnover by the Cards. That'll be their 10th in the ball game.
They cannot stop Burns down low. I mean, he may miss a shot or two, but they're not going to stop him. He's just too hard down there to handle. Horsfield's just too thin to play him down there.
But, Coach, from a strategy standpoint, do you continue to throw the ball inside to Burns to force Louisville to try to trap him to open up things on the outside for your players?
Keep throwing to him until he tells you he's tired, which doesn't usually take a long time.
O'Connell a three. And, boy, what a terrific box out, both Trey White and Skyy Clark, who got the rebound. Cards going to work with Clark. And here's Tyler Johnson. And that's an offensive foul. Michael O'Connor steps in front here.
This is there all the way. I mean, he just made up his mind he was going to drive and didn't react to the defense and just went right through him.
DJ Burns giving up the pass, and we'll see what happens on this possession. Guy won 1,100 games, wants it to go to 30.
The Hall of Famer wants it going back inside to 30.
To 30, yep.
Another one. That was close to another charge.
Morsell knocks down the three. He's got 13 now.
And that's his first three, and that'll make a difference with him.
But Casey's been a much better player in the second halves of games as of late, especially for NC State. Struggles with his shooting a little bit in the first half, but first one of the second half has been good for Casey Morsell off the bounce.
Now look at this.
Well, you got to see, does the right arm extend?
Yeah.
No, it does not extend, Coach.
Come on, Coach.
No, Coach, you don't call that one offensive foul.
I didn't say you call it. I said it extended a little bit, but it was more of a fake than an actual charge.
Huntley-Hatfield taking it right at Burns with the 2 fouls, and Brandon scores. See,
and that's the difference. If I'm Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, when I know I'm going to have to battle to defend DJ Burns, I'm going at him every time on the offensive floor when I get the ball in my hands.
Out front, here's Diarra. Now Burns again, got Huntley-Hatfield in the air, and he'll get the one. A lot to look at here, Coach. It's a pretty good move by DJ Burns.
You cannot guard him man-to-man down there. You just can't. I don't think there's anybody in the league. I'll give you. He's getting mauled in there, and he's getting double grabbed with both hands. He's just too good down low. It's almost a continuation there. He kind of got hit on the ground, but we'll give him the and one on that one.
A smart play by DJ with the pump fake to get Huntley-Hatfield in the air, but also recognizing once he's in the air to get the shot on the basket, comes up with a three-point play.
He's got 3 of the Wolfpack 6 here to start the half. Sorry, 5 of their 8, rather, to start the half. Beg your pardon. Third field goal and a free throw. And to your point, Jim, Louisville needs a little offensive punch here.
But this is where you go. Make him have to defend.
And there's the foul on Burns. Well, counter one with the other, don't you? Burns drew the foul now. Huntley-Hatfield gets Burns to his 3rd.
That's what they have to do. Make him play defense, see if you can get him out, because they can't guard him on the other end. That's the best way to get him out of there.
But I will have to say, this may have been good defense by DJ Burns. Let's see. He has 2 hands there, but as he goes out,
he got him a little bit.
He does get him on the left. Does get him on that left elbow.
Free throw by Brandon Huntley-Hatfield is good. He's now got 3 in the half, 14 in the ball game. That's his 3rd field goal.
Kevin Keats right now opting to keep DJ Burns on the floor, trusting him to stay away from that 4th foul, which we've seen DJ pick up fouls in bunches. We saw the 2 fouls happen about 20 seconds in the first half.
O'Connell scoops. Burns will follow and draw another foul.
I think he almost passed that, but I might be giving him a little too much credit. You think?
You talking about O'Connell?
Yeah.
Yeah, you give him too much credit. That was a shot, Coach.
Right,
that was a shot.
All right.
That's the type of passes you used to throw.
Yeah, I might be giving him a little too much credit.
Well, and the only reason I say that is because if you're passing that, normally it's off the glass for your big man to go dunk it. And that was DJ Burns on the other side of that, so then, that was going to be a below-the-rim finish for DJ.
He's not dunking that.
Don't forget the fourth leading scorer in conference play is a no-go today. That's DJ Horn, who averaged 18-1 against the league. And remember, Corey, he had 27 with 6 threes in the only meeting during the regular season in Louisville.
No, that's really what started the scoring spree for DJ Horn, where he went on to score over 25 points for 5 straight games, almost getting to J.J. Redick's status, who did it for 6 straight games at Duke.
Here's Tyler Johnson setting for 3. Middlebrooks has come in to replace Burns, and you see Diarra pull away the rebound. Wolfpack by 4. Morsell weaving through traffic. Here's Middlebrooks. And then O'Connell almost threw it away, did throw it away. Taylor had it once, Johnson had it once, and now last touch by Jayden Taylor.
I don't want it. You take it.
Well, and that's it, Coach. Casey Morsell got into the painted area. The only person back there was Brandon Huntley-Hatfield. Now, of course, Huntley-Hatfield, a much taller defender. But if you're Casey Morsell, you want to be able to attack that, and it ends up being a bad possession for NC State as we see the scramble to get the basketball. Kenny Payne thinks it should be going in his direction and agrees with the call.
By the way, that's the first NC State turnover in about 11 and a half minutes of game time. Miss out of the corner. Taylor fouled in the backcourt. A collision with Trey White. That'll be White's second and the 4th on the Cards.
That would have been a good block in a football game, but not here.
Well, Jeff Brom's a few seats down from us. We can go ask him. The Cards
he'd like
head
that.
coach.
He'd like that play.
There he is. Played in the ACC title game last year against Florida State and Charlotte. A lot of expectations what's going to happen this fall. When his second edition of Louisville takes the field, there's a 3 by Taylor. Huntley-Hatfield the rebound. Saw Coach Brom make a road trip this year to Chapel Hill. He likes his hoop now. And a scoop and score. No, White couldn't get it to go. Diarra pulls away one that hung on the rim.
Great job by Skyy Clark touching the paint, though. Maybe he was a little too unselfish on that one himself.
Morsell falling to the ground, lost his balance, and Middlebrooks cleans it up.
That's what Ben Middlebrooks has done. 19 offensive rebounds in the last 6 games coming into this one, and has already picked up a number of them here today. That's his 3rd offensive rebound.
Very physical kid.
Yeah. Johnson looking for Huntley-Hatfield. Now we're going to get a foul called, and it's on Brandon.
Could have gone both ways. They both were doing it. It's just who do you catch?
So this is off the ball, Corey, and it's something we've seen called during the course of the year because it has to do with the reach around, right?
Right, trying to give yourself an advantage to be able to catch the basketball on the post. Kenny Payne coaching up Brandon Huntley-Hatfield on the sideline right now as he has to take him out of the game with that 3rd foul. And we know how important it is to have him on the floor. But how about this? You come off, you get coached up by Kenny Payne, and then once you get further down the bench, Danny Manning, 1988 National Player of the Year and National Champion, stops you to give you a couple of nuggets as well.
Exactly. So the Wolfpack by 6 with 4.5 gone in the second half. After Louisville's best shooting half in the first 20 minutes, here's Taylor off the turnover, and he's fouled. Couldn't finish the shot. He'll get a couple of free throws, and we're going to get a timeout in Washington.
That's the only thing that it's better than.
7 for Taylor as he'll go to the line. We welcome you back to Washington. Day 1 of the 71st ACC tournament presented by T. Rowe Price with Jim Boeheim, Corey Alexander, Wes Durham. Great to have Kim Belton, who was a former Boeheim recruit, as our producer.
Yeah, he chose otherwise, though.
Another one that got away.
And Mike Griffin, our director. Terrific crew. Dave O'Brien, Jay Billis had game 1 for you.
I don't know how much credit I can give Griff, though, because we went to Insomnia Cookies last night, and I think he ate the entire box, WD. He left me like 1 cookie.
Wow.
Angel Gray, our guy, I mean, we had the whole crew.
Wow.
And I think I got 1 cookie left, I'm just sure.
Okay.
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, getting ready to say. Here's James turning and scoring. Mike James' second field goal. He's got 6. Big basket for the Cards there, Coach, 5 minutes in.
Oh, they need it. They need to get going. They need to try to get the ball back to Clark and get a couple shots, see if he can continue to shoot well. It's been a while since he's had a shot.
O'Connell, Morsell. Taylor looked at Middlebrooks and now gets it to him with Glenn defending. Ben burrowing in, and that'll be a foul on Caleb Glenn. That'll be his second, and that is 7 now on Louisville. Quick reminder to you, we've got ACC softball coming up for you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Number 15 Alabama visits Lonnie Almeida and number 18 Florida State. Terrific battle in the top 20. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. So Ben Middlebrooks, speaking of Florida State, who's the nephew of the former Seminole quarterback Danny Cannell, at the line for the front end of the 1-and-1.
You know, Wes always comes up with some information that we really don't even need, doesn't he, Corey?
Oh, Coach.
How do you put him? You don't put him together with Danny Cannell.
So, Coach, what you're saying is we need the thought bubble on Wes? Is that what needs to happen at this point? We gotta put one over top of his head, or will there be a bunch of information that we don't need to know?
100%.
Middlebrooks has 9, by the way, Coach, as we move along. 7-point lead.
I didn't say he wasn't good. I just said I don't know why we need to put him with Danny Cannell. But that's
what's his uncle? That's I thought that might be applicable. You know. Here's Clark on the drop. Plus, Danny might be watching. Saved off the Middlebrooks block. Oh, and then the collision, and Clark will scoop and score.
Now, you can't blow the whistle because Ben Middlebrooks actually fouled Casey Morsell, his teammate, who had the basketball on that, and it ends up being an easy bucket for Skyy Clark.
First point since about 4 minutes to go in the first half for Skyy Clark. He's now got 20, and the Cards to within 5. Here's Middlebrooks, back toward the basket, can't finish inside. Glenn the rebound, and a whistling foul will be on the Wolfpack, and it's on Jayden Taylor. That gives NC State its second team foul, first on the junior from Indianapolis.
Just an unlucky play for NC State. You see Ben Middlebrooks hit Casey Morsell after the nice save from O'Connell, but turns the basketball right over into the hands of Skyy Clark with the easy layup.
Curtis Williams bring it to the front court. Freshman from Detroit, had 15 in the regular season meeting against the Wolfpack.
Yeah, 4 for 6 from beyond the three-point arc. Unable to get anything going so far in this one offensively.
Clark tried to wrap it back to Glenn and turns it over. Morsell the other way off the Louisville turnover, and Diarra. Great bounce pass from Casey.
Yeah, but great job by Casey, really probing, keeping his head up, seeing what the defense was going to give him. Got to a point that we really could have taken the mid-range pull-up, but the nice pass to Diarra under the basket.
Lead is 7 now for NC State. Trying to find its 18th win of the year. They split their last 6 games of the regular season and finished the campaign with an 8-point loss at Pitt on Saturday. And James fouled on the drive. And it's going to be on Middlebrooks. It'll be his first and the third on the Wolfpack. So the winner of this game will get the 7th-seeded Orange of Syracuse. Corey, that's tomorrow night late, following Clemson meeting the winner of our next game, third game of the day, Boston College and Miami. And Notre Dame will meet Wake Forest in a 12-5 matchup at 2:30 tomorrow behind Virginia, Florida State, who start at high noon.
Well, I can tell you what we're going to do, WD. We are going to get a ISO cam on one said Hall of Famer to my right during that Syracuse game, because I can tell you he is going to be in motion during that one.
Here's Williams at the front, and Curtis Williams drops down the 2.
And this is a young man who can be instant offense coming off the bench. Seen him have some big performances for the Cards as a freshman this season. Needs some experience, but he can absolutely help.
Those are Louisville's first bench points of the night. NC State's had 17 from their bench. Remember playing without Horn tonight. Taylor thought about it, steps to the left, and guns for 3. And Middlebrooks will catch another foul. That'll be his second, 4 on NC State.
Williams getting to the mid-range, a little bit of separation to step back, but you see with his size, has the ability to shoot over top of most defenders. Nice touch to make it a 5-point game. Now the Cards with an opportunity after the zone defensively, Coach.
Now the Cards need to make a couple of offensive plays. They need to get back in it right now. Burns is still out. Let's get a couple of buckets, get into this game.
Here is James on the turn.
Everything but the basket.
Last possession defensively was zone for the Cards. Now let's see if they are able to get back into it. Looks like they're going to stay man.
Breon pass has come back out on the floor during that exchange a moment ago. Middlebrooks with James. Double team help from Payne, and a Louisville foul is called, and it's going to be on Zan Payne. So he'll draw the foul.
In there.
What's the negativity there?
They're not with us.
I understand. Okay.
They're not with us. The great Len Byers.
Yeah, no question.
As well as my man Walt the Wiz Williams.
Yep.
They're not here with us, but they were with us, so you can't just write them out of history now.
I can.
Hey, like Boeheim's with us now, but he wasn't with us up until like 2013.
That's okay. He's with us now.
Okay.
So I can talk about him.
I got you. Middlebrooks hits them both, by the way. Lead is 7 for the Wolfpack. I would note that Bob Lewis, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago when R.J. Davis was attacking Carolina's single-game scoring record against Miami in Chapel Hill. Bob Lewis from Washington. 49 in 1965 against Florida State. That was not a conference game for those of you just joining.
And no three-point line for those 49 either, WD.
And Curtis Williams finds a three-point line.
Why do you say 1965 like you couldn't score back then? I played back then.
That's
get 40.
That's exactly why we said it.
Bing got 46. So, and I took the ball out of bounds every time and gave it to him.
So Casey Morsell, who also went to St. John's College.
There you go.
High school here in D.C., knocking down the three ball from the corner.
He's got 16, by the way, and he was late to the party in terms of the scoring.
Yeah, but he's got 25 people in attendance watching, and he better show up in this game.
Huntley Hatfield against Middlebrooks, 10 to shoot, 7-point game. Brandon trying to squeeze the trigger and does. 6.5, 17 in the game. Huntley Hatfield's 17th double-figure game against the league here tonight.
And he stayed with that when earlier in the year he was, and now he's finishing some of those plays. He's improved this year.
Zone again defensively, Coach. Kenny Payne mixing it up. He must know you're here watching.
Middlebrooks. He and Huntley Hatfield starting to square up. Well, thought they might whistle him for a walk. It got deflected. It'll go out of bounds. Last touch by NC State.
Well, they didn't call the walk, so then they didn't call the foul, which that's all right, right?
I'm going to trust you on all this because you're the one that had to sit over there for so long.
Well, that's what just happened down there.
All right. Halfway home, 5-point lead. Winner gets Syracuse tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. In the third of the 4 second-round games on a Wednesday here in D.C. Clark off a high screen from Huntley Hatfield. It's been a quiet second half for Skyy. Against pass, draws the foul, and he'll get a couple of free throws. That's 3 on pass.
Okay, Coach, I need you to break this down for me. You've seen a lot of basketball, watch more basketball than anyone I know. I need for you to tell me, what is this celebration right here?
I don't know why anybody that's got the recent history of these guys is celebrating. Anything except, I guess, being here. I mean, that's it. That's all I can see.
Ernest Ross signaling.
Those are the 3 goggles, Coach.
I know what they are. But let's not celebrate until we win a game or
21 for Clark.
So, Coach, when someone on your team, you're coaching, and Carmelo Anthony makes a big 3 in the corner, and one of his teammates puts on the 3 goggles, is it okay? Or
it's okay because we probably won 8 or 9 games in a row.
Okay, that's fair. All right, that's fair.
The celebration when you're down 20, like some of those guys do in football games or whatever, celebrate that.
Okay.
Wait until you win.
That's fair.
22 for Clark, 4 in this second half. So DJ Burns has come back in the ball game. Time for our Bojangles Big Bo moment of tonight's game. Look at DJ Burns going to work here, Corey.
He absolutely has. He started out the game attacking the basket, then back to the second half. The same action for Kevin Keats. But Burns in foul trouble, hasn't been able to stay on the floor. And now he's on the inside trying to attack this zone.
Look at Burns high off the window, and last touch by O'Connell trying to save it.
And this zone has helped Kenny Payne and the Louisville defensively. They've thrown a little bit of a hesitation in North Carolina State offense.
Yeah, sometimes it catches you off guard, and you have 2 or 3 bad possessions, and that can help you, get back in it and get a couple stops.
Wolfpack by 3. Huntley Hatfield well out against Burns. Just spot at 16.
I don't like to settle. However, that's really where you need to go.
Oh, my goodness.
Double dribble on Taylor. I think Jayden might have exchanged hands here. And Kevin Keats
WD, I can
sees that one go by the boards
vividly.
The official was right on the call, so, I mean,
I'll go right back to it with Huntley Hatfield. I'm not sure why he gives the basketball up. Force DJ Burns to have to guard him.
Trey White. 4th field goal, 9 points. Louisville to within 1. We go inside of 9 minutes to play now.
And you have to like Louisville fighting back like this after they gave up the lead, get down 6 or 8, and then they're fighting back. That's pretty good.
Woods. Here's Burns now. O'Connell. Back for DJ Burns and a foul.
You really can't stop him down there when he gets down in there. He's a really unique offensive player. And, you just wonder why over his time he hasn't been able to get himself to where he can play longer minutes and with more energy.
But especially when you switch defensively and you put a smaller guy having to contend with DJ Burns down there in the paint.
6 for Burns, by the way, 8 in the ball game.
It really doesn't matter. When a big guy plays him, he just uses his moves and step throughs and gets the guy up in the air. I mean, he's just a unique player down there. I mean, he's got a great low post game, and he really reminds me of Zach Randolph. I had Zach Randolph when he was coming out of high school. Same build, same kind of body and moves. Zach got himself down into better shape, though, and was able to go better.
Zach Randolph, Akeem Olajuwon, that's not bad comparisons. In terms of your footwork and your movement at the post.
Yeah. He's got all the moves. He's very good there.
3-point lead for the Wolfpack. Both these teams trying to play for another day. Huntley Hatfield, O'Connell reached in, almost swiped it. Jeff Walls, the Louisville women's coach, sitting down here to our left, flawlessly handled that ball when it got knocked. There's Coach Walls.
No mistake, no error, no turnover.
He handled it great.
Nah, I've only been impressed if he shot it. But WD, you mentioned Akeem Olajuwon. Now, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you start thinking NC State and Akeem Olajuwon? No H?
Yeah. Albuquerque in '83.
There you go. With my guy Derek Wittenberg, who was not on the graphic, although he is a DMV legend from DeMatha High School. To this day, still says it was a pass. It was not. It was a shot.
That's a good call. It's a good try from Witt, though.
Oh, yeah, great try from Witt.
No one believes that. not his closest relative. His mother does not believe that.
So Cam Woods is going to go to the line. He is just 3 for 4 on the year on the 10th foul against the Cardinals. You see DJ Horn on the bench. He has not played today. It's a hip flexor, we're being told. And came out, did go through some degree of the warm-up. But the Wolfpack's leading scorer not available. Now, they're up 3 with 8 to go. Should the Wolfpack win, be interesting to see if he'd be available for their lineup tomorrow.
I mean, it happens, but it always puzzles me as a coach when a guy can't go today but goes tomorrow. I mean, that's pretty.
Well, I think he's in a position to where it's day-to-day, because we saw him warming up yesterday. We watched him warm up earlier today, and we actually wondered whether he would play or not. But more importantly, he was able to go into halftime and put his ice on, though.
Yeah, maybe he will. I mean, they've played really well without him. They've kind of, O'Connell's picked it up a little bit. So that's what you do when you lose a key guy. Other guys have to step up, and you can do that over one game. It's hard to do it every game.
Here's Middlebrooks fighting through, blocked by Huntley Hatfield. Out of bounds, it'll stay with the Wolfpack. 7:32 to go. Heel and befriended Everett Case in watching NC State play in the old Southern Conference at Thompson Gym. He was a legend. He was a luminary. He was a trusted friend and mentor to so many who have covered this event for so many years, and he'll be sorely missed at 98, but he leaves us with some incredible memories.
And DJ Burns just goes right to the basket.
Yep. 5-point lead for the Wolfpack out of the timeout. Ahead of 7 to play here in Washington on day 1 of this ACC tournament, presented by T. Rowe Price, and Taylor the rebound of the Huntley-Hatfield miss. Feels like we're in a danger zone, so to speak, with the Cards, Corey.
We are in a danger zone right now for the Cards. I'm also in a danger zone, WD, because we put that graphic out with so many different DMV guys, and you know I'm one of the voices of the ACC.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many guys are hitting me up right now because they're not on the graphic?
Skyy Clark on the steal and the layup. 6.5 for Clark, 24 in the game. Louisville to within 3.
Let me start out with some guys who I'm getting in trouble with. One, my brother, the greatest ACC tournament of all time, Randolph Childress, as Casey Morsell is fouled on the 3, was not on the graphic. He is from Clinton, Maryland.
Yes, he is.
He is in the DMV.
Right.
But even worse.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's worse than that?
Worse than that?
It gets worse than that.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Come on. Tell me it doesn't.
The great Dennis Scott, 3D,
God.
Flint Hill Prep.
Oh, my God.
Just texts me and says, no love? WD, that's your fault.
No, it's not.
Georgia Tech, you a Georgia Tech guy. That should never happen. You approved that graphic beforehand.
Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on now. Don't drag me into your trash.
3D, my apologies. And, okay, let's start with this.
Okay.
NC State, 1991, ACC Player of the Year. That's right. Call him Ice. Rodney Monroe.
Rodney Monroe texted you?
No, I didn't hear from Rodney yet.
Good.
But Rodney's Hagerstown, so I'm not quite certain.
No, that is not the DMV.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But I think he's from the DMV and moved to Hagerstown.
Yeah, that might be.
Okay.
Oh, the list goes on and on and on. But I just want my producer, Kim Belton, and our director,
the former Boeheim recruit, Kim Belton?
Yes, the one that turned Boeheim down. No, he got me in trouble, but it's okay.
Are we going to go through my whole list of people?
No.
I coached 47 years. There's about 1,000 of them I lost. Come on. You only got to get 1 out of 10, you know.
Morsell hits all 3 free throws. He's got 9.5 and 19 now in the ball game. Casey Morsell. And the Wolfpack lead is 6. Tyler Johnson, the freshman from Brooklyn. And almost threw it away. Clark with a heck of a catch. Against Breon Pass. Skyy, to the cutting White.
Great cut by White to get to the open spot, not standing on the 3-point line. And Skyy Clark has done it all for the Cards here today and gotten them back to within 4.
11 double-figure games on the year for Trey White against the ACC. 4-point game, under 6 to go.
None bigger than the Clemson 29-14, though. He put up Wes Unseld numbers in that game, WD.
Here's Morsell a 3. Johnson the rebound. Tyler front court.
Great job by Tyler recognizing Breon Pass trying to sneak up and get that steal.
Skip for Clark. 3-ball.
It's the first 3 look he's got since the first 5 minutes of the game.
And with 27 points, 5 for 6 from beyond the arc, I have to say this is probably the best game that Skyy Clark has played in a Louisville uniform.
This is one of the best games anybody's played in a uniform this year.
Here's a 1-point lead for State. Taylor in traffic, fouled on the play. That'll be 2 shots coming for the Wolfpack.
You know, Skyy Clark's another guy you look at. Freshman year, coming all the hype and everything, had a very poor year. And now, next year, he's back.
4 on Huntley-Hatfield with 5 minutes to play here, guys.
It just takes a year sometimes, maybe even 2, and we just don't give him that.
Don't forget our baseball game of the week features the number 7 team in the nation. Wake Forest visits Brian O'Connor at number 17 Virginia. You'll get the 2nd game of their 3-game series Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Taylor the free throw. The lead is 3. Huntley-Hatfield goes out.
And Caleb Glenn checking in.
Sizing down, huh?
Yeah, you got a much smaller lineup, which becomes a problem trying to keep Ben Middlebrooks off of the offensive glass. It's already been a problem. And now with this smaller lineup, how will Louisville take care of business?
They've got about 5 guards in there, don't they?
Taylor's got 10. Louisville trailing 3. Clark for the tie.
But that's always the great equalizer, Coach. If you're going to be small, then you got to shoot the ball. And Skyy Clark gets a nice look from the top of the key, knocking down the three.
Career high 30 now for Clark. We're tied at 75 and a timeout. Kevin Keats wants to talk about it here, Jim. You're Kenny Payne. What are you telling your team?
You know, they haven't been here enough, and that's what's, you know, they've got to find a way to get a couple stops, and it's going to be here. Double team on Burns. That's probably a good move.
Taylor a three. There you go. How about that?
But, Coach, that's what we talked about before. Do you go double team? No. Because when you double team, that opens up opportunities. Taylor's been shooting a hot basketball as of late.
And he's too good a passer. It's just, you know, it's just something you can't do.
But with Huntley Hatfield with the 4 fouls on the bench, it is a significant mismatch with DJ Burns in the post.
Clark all the way through, deflected away, scooped up White. 8 to shoot for Louisville. Skip for Johnson. All the way through, up off the glass. Tyler Johnson with 8.
Crafty play by Tyler, really just extending that step to get around the defender and get the easy layup.
1 point lead for State. Pass to Burns. Double team coming. That's Glenn and Johnson on the big man. Taylor launching again, and it rattles in. Back-to-back threes for State's Jayden Taylor.
And Kevin Keats is excited on the sideline watching DJ Burns handle the traps with perfection.
Johnson. Caught, squeezed the trigger, and O'Connell collects it in the corner. 3 minutes to go and a backcourt foul on Johnson.
Frustration foul.
Well, and you're going to get O'Connell to the free throw line, who's 84%. But, Coach, it's a 4-point game here.
Well, he thought he was going to get fouled, and he didn't, so he went in.
The other 3 guys up here dressed very nice, by the way. Y'all are sharp. But the only one doing any work over there is Kelsey.
She carries them, and when I'm not there, they really struggle. So, I mean, I don't know how they do it.
However, the ACC tournament is always the anniversary of when Kelsey forgot me, Wes. But back to West Durham and
5 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. I can understand that.
O'Connell, by the way, puts State up 6 now with 3 minutes to go. Boston College Miami closed this first round later tonight. Here's James to White. Skyy Clark's got 30. He's been terrific for Louisville. Huntley Hatfield playing with the 4 fouls. 8 to shoot for Williams. Skip for Clark and a 3-ball.
Unbelievable.
33 for Clark.
Have a night, man.
7-3.
To be honest, this was the Skyy Clark that Louisville was supposed to get. His reputation is a shooter, a high-level scorer. And he has saved his best for what could be last. However, he's trying to keep it going.
Yep.
Well, he was the guy that high-level guy Louisville or the Illinois thought they had.
Missed 3 from Morsell.
Oh, you know what I'm doing right here, WD.
55.
Ooh.
Lost it on the dribble.
He took a tough hit from Taylor, too.
The turnover.
First big mistake he's made today.
15 of them now for Louisville today. 9 for the Wolfpack. First turnover in 11 minutes for the Ville. 3-point lead for State. Morsell and a reach in on Curtis Williams. Foul on Williams, his first. 2 free throws coming for the Wolfpack here.
And this is a game where Louisville just hasn't been able to win these games. They've kept it close in a number of games, but they just haven't been able to finish. And, you know, NC State's got some guys that have finished some games, so, you know, they have a little bit of an advantage here.
I take it back to November with Louisville, where Kenny Payne and his crew had Texas on the ropes.
Oh, yeah.
Mismanaged a couple plays, one at the end of the first half.
Here's Morsell for the second of 2 free throws. Casey, by the way, now has a career high against any ACC opponent. Corey?
Yeah, well, he actually had a career high 21 points against, I believe it was Florida State.
Yep.
You and I did that game, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, played well that night.
2 weeks ago.
And so Morsell Most points he's ever scored against an ACC opponent now. Free throw or jump shot from Williams, no good. And Casey the rebound for the Wolfpack. And the foul will be on Mike James. 85-80 with 79 seconds left. And Skyy Clark has had a day, guys.
He absolutely has. And you look at his shot chart. Whew. 33 points, 12 of 15 from beyond the arc. Super efficient. Coach, you know what that percentage is? Don't worry about it, Syracuse. That's 80%.
About it, but it also isn't all behind the arc. That's his total field goal.
Yeah.
True that.
Jeez.
Hey,
True
Coach,
that.
Coach, Skyy Clark is the 6th player to have 30 points and 6 made threes in an ACC tournament game over the last 25 years. He joins J.J. Redick, Tyrese Rice, Harrison Barnes, Olivier Hanlon, and Hunter Couture.
All great names.
Yep.
All great names. By the way, all my guys.
Well, I think that it would have been
all of them
better the last 2 possessions if he'd have gotten another couple looks.
Well, down 7 now with 75 seconds left. Clark had it knocked away. Middlebrooks will scurry to scoop it up.
But that's been the issue for the Cards the entire season, and it's reared its ugly head here late in this game. When you look at the one thing that Skyy Clark has struggled with throughout this game, he now has 6 turnovers and crucial ones here down the stretch, and just mishandling the basketball. Give Breon Pass a lot of credit for just sticking his hand in, coming up with the steal there, and now an opportunity for NC State to make this a 3-possession game.
O'Connell at the line on the day, 2 for 2, knocks that down. Now an 8-point game.
And you have to give NC State a huge amount of credit for being able to hang in there when Louisville played so well.
You see Milton Wagner on the bench, the last Louisville player in a conference tournament to have 30 or more was Milt Wagner, who had 31
Metro?
in 1986.
The
Skyy
Metro?
Clark has broken Milt Wagner's mark today.
But was that the Metro Conference tournament?
It was in 86, yep. There goes Clark, missed the layup. White tried to follow first, and now the second time the charm. But it is 89-80 with 51 seconds left, and a timeout taken by Kenny Payne. And our dynamic play of the game is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. And even though they're down 7, it's Skyy Clark here, Corey.
Yeah, he has been dynamic absolutely in this game. We talked about the numbers and the efficiency of Skyy Clark, making big shot after big shot for the Cards throughout this game. May not be enough to keep his season alive, but he has definitely given his best effort here this evening.
Yep.
Both teams have played at a really high level, and you have to give them credit at this stage of the year to play like this.
The finality, Coach, sets in, though, when you get to this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the end of the year is so difficult for players and coaches, because you always think, no matter where you are, that you could have won this game, and now you got another chance to play.
Yep.
But it just got away from Louisville. But it's kind of been the way it's been for them. When they've played well, they've still not been able to close the game.
NC State's made 13 straight free throws to push the margin to 7. And there is a quick backcourt foul, and that's going to be on Glenn. And a NC State team that has been in the bonus and the double bonus, Corey, since 14.5 minutes to go in the ball game.
Yeah, and you identified that when it happened, and you think about what an advantage it is for NC State to know that if you're strong with the basketball, you're going to have an opportunity to put 2 points on the board just by getting to the free throw line.
Right.
And they've taken advantage of those opportunities as well.
O'Connell at the line for a pair. And the first one good. And that'll make it 8 points with 50 seconds. Huntley Hatfield returns. He plays with 4. Syracuse, the 7 seed, awaits the winner of this tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Orange beat the Wolfpack twice. They beat them at the Dome and then lost in Raleigh to Adrian Autry's team. By the way, snaps the streak at 14 in a row after O'Connell missed the back end. White the scoop. O'Connell the rebound with 35 seconds left. And a pitch ahead. Here is Taylor and the layup. Well, in the final half minute, the lead is 10 at 92-82. And here's Clark, who's working on a career high in a record-setting tournament night for Louisville. And there'll be a foul on Middlebrooks. And Corey, 16.5 seconds left to go in the ball game. And for the Cardinals, this will bring a close to the season. And immediately, discussions will begin about the future of Kenny Payne.
They absolutely will. And again, you know, everyone will have their own opinion. I personally don't believe that Kenny Payne has really been given much of a chance, considering the program that he took over. Louisville wasn't just in bad shape, it was broken. And I believe it was going to take more than 2 years to try to get this program back to where it would be. I personally would love to see Kenny Payne get a longer opportunity. I don't know that that will happen.
Jim, it's a production business. We all know that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Louisville's got such a history of winning. And
have to be very careful how you treat your own because the recruits are watching.
Yeah. Cards will put it in play here with 16.6 to go. Clark out of the corner, fouled on the play by Middlebrooks. And Skyy Clark's going to get three free throws, and Ben Middlebrooks is going to get a soft jog down to Kevin Keats for a one-way discussion here, Coach.
The game is over. Let's just get it over. That's what the discussion is going.
Is that what it is?
Right there. Let's just get it over. And that's when you want to get on a player, because you are going to win the game. You know, if it was a 5-point game and you do something like that, then you might not win the game.
Second of the three. Boy, what a night for Clark, huh?
Not many better games than this.
35. I mean, he's been rolling since the opener.
He absolutely has. He started out strong, finishing strong.
Yep. Third of the three, completely clean. The lead 7 with 13.5 to go. Jayden Taylor out of a double team, and Kevin Keats took a timeout, and he wants to wave everybody in. So Breon Pass will get a little instruction. This is full Kevin Keats coaching points right here.
Well, Kevin Keats is looking at his high school quarterback, the football player, saying, hey, can you please take the ball out of bounds? Because he's the guy that he trusts to be able to throw it in. And, of course, if there needs to be a long pass to be made, he knows Breon Pass is capable.
All right, so let's move ahead a little bit. We're going to see BC Miami later tonight. BC, by the way, third meeting between those two schools in 25 days, Jim.
Yeah. And BC's played really had Miami's had just so many injuries, so many setbacks, and you know, Post is a difficult guy for them to play against inside, and you know, Boston College is going to have a lot of confidence coming into that game.
We got a heck of a game tonight in the Post. Not Quentin Post with Norchad O'Meara and Quentin Post.
Yeah. Size versus strength.
Yep. Inbounds to Morsell. There's the Cards double team and a foul called. Mark Schnurr, who's worked with Jerry Heater and Lee Cassell tonight, tickets Trey White for his fourth.
WD, you think about this?
What's that?
Our guy hasn't said anything negative about the officials the entire game.
Now, the officials are good in this league. I've always said that. I don't agree with some of their calls, but these guys are good officials. We have a great chief of officials in Brian Kersey in this league.
Yeah.
And, you know, but you're going to miss calls. And, you know, coaches are going to say something about them. That's what we're over there for.
Yeah. Coach Boeheim, I don't even know who you are right now.
I don't either. There's Lee Cassell, by the way.
I think this game was very well refereed tonight.
Sure, agreed.
There's a call here or there, but when that's all there is, a call here or there, that's a good night.
Morsell knocks down another free throw. Nice homecoming game for Casey Morsell, who's from Fort Washington, by the way.
Absolutely, which is in the DMV. Okay, correct. Fort Washington, right off the Beltway.
By the way, how's in the final 10 seconds here? How's our PR campaign going for our rehabilitation with some of your friends?
Well, I did get Chris Corciani on the line, and you know, he made sure to reach out before I'd already said his partner, of course, Fire and Ice. I'd already said Rodney Moreau, but my man Corch had to make sure I got Rodney in there.
Yep. And Dennis Scott, I I heard you. I'm with you tonight.
Hey, Dennis, that's all WD. No, he approved that graphic.
Did not, Dennis.
Rodney Monroe is from Hagerstown. I went there. That's another guy I went to go see.
Williams misses the three. NC State will move on to play the Orange, and Louisville season comes to a close. Kevin Keats and Kenny Payne. A quick